Alright guys, let's come again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. More drama at the Los Angeles Thieves. New rumours have it the players want to make a roster change in their current predicament after last weekend's absolute disaster, but the coaching staff and management are not so convinced and want to let the team ride it out for the time being. Does that mean that mentally they are completely compromised, with BenJ especially adding fuel to the fire in recent days on this aBeZy situation? Lots of reaction to that from Formal, from Dashy, and certainly from Scrap as well last night. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Loads to start with. We're going to begin here actually. So Heretics confirmed yesterday that Lucky is back. So of course Lucky was on the team way back in Black Ops 4. He was on the team before Super kind of came in and they made the changes and it became the Metals ReeaL Rancor Super situation. But you know, Lucky quality sniper rifle player as well back in the day. But with Traix coming in instead of ReeaL, Miami, look, they started out last year relatively slow even with Rancor. It took the Super change for them to get to the next level. This season, they've got no ReeaL anymore. It's not been quite as strong. I'm not expecting them to be quite as competitive as last season. I'm not saying Lucky's going to come back into the starting team anyway, but I thought it was just nice, you know, it's a relatively tight circle that the Heretics have held in Call of Duty. Lucky's certainly a big part of that. He is back as the assistant coach, so we'll see if that can help them kind of reach the next level. Look, it's obviously early days here in the season, but their result against the Ravens the other day certainly was far from ideal. Let's talk about some of the challenges results. We're going to do more on that later today with some of the drama with the Stallions. But Bush Gaming, they got the job done. It was not easy. They did not make it easy for themselves. They needed to beat effectively the Dimensions Icons team High Treason in order to get the job done. They made it hard for themselves here on the Scar Hardpoints, but they did get over the line. They won this series, and therefore they made it to the playoffs. Now the playoffs got underway tonight. 4 teams did not make the playoffs. 8 teams did make the playoffs of the 12 teams that made it to the Elite. Bush Gaming were one of those. They find themselves at a pretty interesting bracket. We'll see in a second. This actually was the box score, but I've got it right about here. So yeah, it was interesting because Capsadol, who you know, Don's been saying best player in challenges and all this, dropped a .6 against a Challengers team, right? So it's obviously not a pretty series from him, given that you would expect certainly in Challengers him to be dropping better numbers, but it was actually Prelude who bailed them out. Dimensions had a great series on the other side. To be fair, they dominated the Den on both map 1 and map 2, really. Then they lost the third map on the Den Overload. We had a triple Den start, and then the Scar was, yeah, it was Prelude dropped 42 in the end. You guys saw the chaos again to that map. So Bush, they get the job done. They advanced to 3-2. Another interesting series to note, we will talk more on it later today, was just Huntsman getting a win against the Falcons Academy. They've been incredibly impressive, I think, as of late. QK still looks like that guy, I'm not going to lie, on this Falcons team right now with Asim and those guys. It actually went to a Game 5, Round 11 in the end, and it was Kips and Renegade, the ones that really turned up on the map 5, and yeah, just very impressed by all of these guys on Huntsman, really. Obviously, QK's been kind of the star of the show on the Falcons lately, but Renegade seems to be improving very quickly right now, so exciting to see how the Huntsmen get on in the playoffs, which are coming up tonight, and well, as you guys can see right here, this is the playoff bracket, so both the Falcons teams made it. The Academy White, which is King of Body and RST, those guys, they play 5 Fears. Huntsman play for Fun Esports. P7 Notorious are going to play Omit Brooklyn. Of course, that's a Lucas team. And then Bush play the Falcons Green. So that's a pretty exciting start. These games, so it's double elimination. Winners round 1, losers round 1, and the winners semi-finals are tonight. So then, of course, we get into a weekend of CDL matches. So there's a lot of Call of Duty coming up. Now, Stallions Black, we're going to talk about a bit more later today with the Stallion situation in general after their disaster class. But Stallions Red, as we know, failed to even qualify. And there's been lots of talk in recent days. What are they going to do about it? Is Havoc going to stay competing? Because Havoc seems to have effectively had enough. And he talked about this on stream last night, that after a difficult little time period with Stallions Red, it was only a week or so ago that Havoc was saying, oh, I'm kind of liking this. I'm thinking maybe I'll compete for the year if I get a good opportunity. However, now the tune has rather quickly changed on that. Maybe his, I don't know, the team situation took it out of him somewhat. But he said, look, you can't make good content if you're just not winning and not having a good time. I don't even want to stream with the way things were going. So I'm not going to compete. And of course, from Zunga's angle, it's like, well, yeah, Havoc's quality player, but also ranked play is at some point going to come out, you would imagine. I mean, like, can we crack on, lads? Right now, people are really loving Call of Duty competitive challenges in the Pro League, and we can't even play it on Black Ops 7 in the same way, unless you play 8s and stuff, which just shouldn't be how it is. Anyway, Havoc's going to wait on that to happen. He was also talking a bit about Swooty and how Swooty was getting so nervous before tournament games that he was basically throwing up and stuff. And look, this does happen. Like, even professional athletes, they feel nauseous before games. Obviously, you've got to learn how to get that under control so you're not, like, actually throwing up. But also, yeah, maybe you feel nervous before Champs Finals, but for like a Pup Cup, then, you know, so it's something to think about, isn't it, right? So anyway, it was just interesting that a lot of people talked about this, that the team, when it came to game day, were just not able to execute in the same way. So a couple of thoughts on that, then we'll talk about the Thieves drama.
I think of what he brings to the table is not about his skill, mainly at all. It's about who he is as a person, his personality, and how that will help us get to the next level. And bro, I'm getting texts. I'm trying to take the night off and sleep on it because, you know, I told them I'm still probably going to play, even though I was thinking about it because we lost the elite. And they're like, I think Swoot and Jordan are both like, yeah, bro, we want to play with Hyde, by the way. And like, there's nothing I can say to change their mind at that point. That shit, that instant gratification shit is so annoying, bro. What, like Hyde is great.
Even with the team now, and we're gonna talk about the team later when I go live. But like even yesterday, I said, listen, like encourage, like we're just letting him do whatever he wants, right? Like as of right now, like I'm hands off. Like I'm not building this team. Like let him build a fucking team.
The problem came again, tourney day.
Oh man, it was bad.
It's a Pup Cup, right, bro? The top 12 challenger teams are not in the fucking tournament, bro. Like,
bro, you guys should have been minimum top two with ease.
Like, Swoot is still, I mean, I think this is something that I'm not putting him on blast or anything, but he is getting like a little bit nervous before matches, and you know he has problems like throwing up and stuff. And it's a Pup Cup though, and like we're taking it like way too fucking serious almost. Like, do you remember when Slasher was saying like the I don't give a fuck mentality, like that he tries to bring to a team? I wish we kind of talked about it more, but like we didn't have that. But like, not only did we not have that,
we should have got Slasher. We should have got Coach Slasher in here.
It is difficult to have that at the highest level, right? But if you can't have that in a Pup Cup, you can't play at the highest fucking level, bro. Like straight up, like you're not going to win a major. You're not going to go to LAN, be under high pressure situations.
Oh yeah, the pressure just grows more and more.
If you can't even get close to that mindset in a Pup Cup. Again, I'm not singling anyone out, but I'm saying that this happened with everyone.
No, it did. You can tell by the gameplay.
Jordan slowed down a lot. Jordan would slow down a lot. Swoot would, forget to throw tax or whatever, like stuff that we wouldn't do in scrims would happen on these tourney days, and it's still happening in a Pup Cup.
So yesterday the talk was about BenJ's thoughts on aBeZy, right? We understand that BenJ said if Kenny gets dropped by Thieves right now and then they bomb out of the major anyway, there will be some talk about what you do with aBeZy. Now, look, aBeZy, nobody is denying the success that he has had. But also you've got to, not pretend that last year was not an especially good year for aBeZy. This year there have been big question marks as to, okay, who was going to do better? Would it be Simp? Would it be aBeZy and all this? Would aBeZy cope better without Simp, or would it be the other way around? So far it seems like the answer to that question is relatively clear. Look, I think aBeZy's play in Search, his impact in Search and Destroy, his impact in Control and in this game Overload, not too much in question. His efficiency in hardpoint, I think, has been the key question. And look, BenJ is always an easy target. And I'm not saying that BenJ deserves defense on this one precisely, but people always come at BenJ because he wasn't a pro, so he has to accept that, and I think that's totally understandable. But also when BenJ gives an opinion, people are always going to roast it no matter what. If there was a pro player saying this, or a former pro or whatever, then it would carry a different level of weight. And I don't think it's just Ben who thinks that aBeZy's play in hardpoint the last couple of years has been suboptimal. But Ben is the one who says it, and it's especially interesting coming out of Ben because he was FaZe Ben, right? FaZe BenJ. He was very close to that team. He's very close with Cell, certainly, and with Simp. So that's the debate here, right? Because as Formal says, I need to know the lore of why BenJ hates aBeZy. And BenJ goes to clarify and says, look, I've got no hate towards aBeZy. And to be fair, what BenJ said was not like outrageous. Now he's giving an interesting take. His point is like, okay, if you drop Kenny and the team fails, you're not going to get rid of Scrap, you're not going to get rid of HyDra, you know, in theory, right? Those are the golden boys. So it would be aBeZy spot up for question. Of course, there was no real debate on who do you actually replace him with, because that's a very challenging conversation to even start to have. And I don't think it's something they're going to do. That they would have to, in that circumstance, just find a way to figure it out, you would think. But you know, if they were replacing Kenny and they keep going through new thoughts or something, then it is probably going to be aBeZy that's looked at before Scrap and HyDra. So that was kind of the point that BenJ was making. But I think the reason why people are roasting BenJ for this, and I do get that, is because Ben has been quite defensive of Cellium. You know, when people criticize Cellium's playstyle and stuff, Ben's been quite defensive there. People tend to believe, and maybe rightfully so, that because Ben is closer, personally, with Cell than he is with aBeZy, that he's more, you know, he's quicker to defend Cell and quicker to criticize aBeZy. Whether you think that's fair or not, that's another question, but I thought Ben's response was pretty funny. I also don't feel the need to play politics and be friends with every pro player in the scene. I'm going to call it how I see it. If people don't like it, that's life, and you can always hit me up directly. So look, I kind of respect this out of Ben. I think that when he says that I don't feel the need to play politics and be friends with every pro, you know, I think fair enough, right? Like, stand on business, Ben, come on, I'm down for this. But also people might be right in their assessment to say, well, maybe he's given Cellium an easier time from some of the criticism because of the personal stuff, whatever you want to say. Dashy thought this is pretty funny as well. He replies to the tweet about, I don't feel the need to play politics and be friends with everyone, with a load of sob laughing emojis. So that was all rather funny. And then, of course, we got some reaction from some of the players themselves. But really the key talking point outside of the Ben drama is on what the players and the team want to do. We saw what Scrap's face looked like. We've probably got it in the replies. Here we go. This is Scrap's face after they lost the other week to Toronto last weekend. It wasn't pretty. And look, CDL Highlight says, I don't know where he's getting his sources from, although I will say that Ghost of Hope did reply and say he believes this could be true, and whether he has sources saying the same thing, I don't know. But anyway, sources say, I'm hearing a player or players on Los Angeles Thieves pushed hard for a roster change, but coaching staff and management are dead set on letting the team figure it out until the first major. They will then have the option for that extra week to decide if they want to bring Neo in or not. So this is very, very interesting if there are players that want to make a move. And you could understand, I mean, looking at the faces of some of those boys, you could understand that they might be thinking, all right, it might be time for Kenny to go, right? And it's not going to be, I would imagine, Kenny pushing for the change. I know that Kenny did say to OpTic last year, maybe it's better if I step away. But I don't imagine Kenny would do that this time, because if Kenny does that again, his career, I mean, you know, where's his career going from here? If Kenny gets dropped right now and he's had these awful stints, okay, he was all right on Rocker at the end of last season, but it wasn't pretty, really. Where does he go next? Like, his career is not cooked, but he won't be back on a top team for some time. That's at the very least. So I don't imagine Kenny is going to be voluntarily stepping away. This is, you know, people are going to say, is it HyDra? Is it Scrap? I don't imagine it's aBeZy, because he's also new and he's also not playing great. aBeZy's KD is like the same as Kenny's right now. So that's, you would think it's probably from the superstar duo or one of them or whoever. But this is the problem. If they want to change, and also if Kenny knows they want to change him and they want to drop him, the team's compromised. And also you get this like self-fulfilling prophecy where, okay, let's say HyDra really wants Kenny gone, just hypothetically, right? It could be someone else, I don't know. That would be the assumption, just because we know that HyDra, Ghosty, HyDra, and some other teammates haven't got on so well as we understand in the past. Will the players be of their mentality going to the major, giving their absolute all to try and win? Or will there be a bit of, you know, HyDra trying to show the coaching staff, like, look, I'm right for a reason here, you know what I mean? So I think there could be some problems coming. This is the issue when you get these disagreements, and also when you've got a player who has so much power on the team, and for good reason he has this power. But also, if, let's say, HyDra wants Kenny gone and the coaching staff are saying no, it's just not going to end well. It's very difficult to imagine that ends well. Either players get disgruntled. I think sticking it out is the right call, but it's like, if you've got players who want to make a move, then you are cooked anyway, probably. Kenny knows it. The teams know it. So where do we go from here? Good question. Where we do go from here is to share a quick clip with Scrappy talking about BenJ.
Really, how are you?
I was just at In and Out. I'm with Tyler aBeZy.
Nah! You with Tyler aBeZy?
What's good, Tom?
Tyler, what's up, team? What's going on, man?
Look at this dude. Tom, just vibing with the in and out.
Yeah, hey, bro, Tyler, don't worry about BenJ. I'm gonna talk to BenJ. I'm gonna see what's going on. I'm gonna talk to him, see what's going
I'm
on.
not gonna lie, that guy's a fat retard.
Fucking BenJ.
Oh man, hey, Tyler, it's always a pleasure talking to you, Tyler. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yes, sir, Tom. Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. Be safe,
I'm
boys.
going in 20. I'm going in 20. Do something for 20 and I'll be on.
All right, bro. All right, guys. Later, guys. Peace out.
Alright, see ya.
Peace. Yeah, that is fucking
Jesus
hilarious.
Christ,
bro. Oh man, that's funny, man.
So, Martin, true to your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do if you're Thieves? If you're Shane, if you're Sender, right? You're the coaches, the management over at the Los Angeles Thieves. You've got HyDra and Scrappy in your ear saying, we got to drop Kenny right now. Team's cooked. Like, this guy is dropping 0.6s. It's time to go. Bring in Neon, whatever. Execute the option. Let's try something different. But Formal was of the opinion that, look, they got to try it until the major. Slash has said on our show, when he was a guest a couple of days ago, that depends on what it's like in the team room as far as Slash is concerned. You know, from the outside, from Formal's perspective, I think it makes sense to at least give it until the LAN. I think that's what I would do. If I was a coach of the team, I'd probably be trying to push in that direction. But if the team room is cooked, if your superstar players are going to go on strike because you're not making a change, then you're finding issues, right? So, yes, intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.